This is episode 5, Chats with Churchill. I'm joined by Pajamas, PJ Braun.
Going on.
Greetings, hello, and we got Mr. Dale Chance calling in from the canned hunting grounds of Chance Estates.
Yeah, just sitting in the canned office, so shoot out the window when the deer shows up. They got to take it off the chain first, though.
Right on. PJ, how are you, man? How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I ran into Andrew actually at Publix. I guess now that I live over here, we must be going to the same Publix now. So he had told me he wanted to get me on a podcast. So I wound up getting on with you ahead of Andrew. So
right on. Well, yeah, actually, I was going to bring that up at the beginning of this. So one of the things that I spoke about in the announcement video for this video series was the fact that when I brought it to Big Lenny and I said, hey, this is something I want you to be involved with. I want you to do. And he was so on board because Big Lenny always wanted to bring everybody back together again. That was like his life mission, was everybody had separated. He wanted to bring everybody back together again. And the very first thing he said to me is, we have to get PJ on. That has to be the first guest. And I said, yeah, for sure. I mean, and again, I don't like speaking for people, especially somebody that's passed, but the words that he chose for you, PJ, was essentially he was so proud of the fact that you did your time, you did it like a man. We won't mention anybody else that didn't do what they needed to do, but you did what you had to do as a man, and you came out and you're building a life for yourself. And Dale and I spoke about this in the last episode, that we watch you and you're like, this is kind of like the underdog story of somebody that went from, we've watched you for so many years being on the highest of high, and then you go to the lowest of lows, and now you're bouncing back.
Thank you.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate you telling me that story because, I was so surprised. People have asked me lately, what was my favorite Lenny moment? And, there's a lot of funny things that he did over the years, but I was very surprised by when I got out of prison and he found out that I was home. He reached out to me through DM and he was like, man, I'm so happy that you're home. You're a good guy. You did your time the right way. And I just really never expected to get a message from him. So I was like, wow, I was really taken back by it. I was like, man, thank you so much for saying that, because a lot of people that I was friends with didn't even message me when I got home.
Wow.
So I think that really says a lot about, his character. And it really kind of opened up my eyes to, I guess I didn't know that he thought of me in that light like that. So it was very surprising. I'll never forget that. Of all the things that I could say, I'll never forget that he wrote me like right when I got home like that.
No, that's how he was. I mean, for all Lenny's flaws and the things he said online, the guy genuinely cared about people. Right prior, and this is something I shared previously, right? I spoke to him about doing this video series, and then right afterwards, I spoke to when his mom died in August. We were speaking every week. And we would share things about like the Vince McMahon documentary, and we were sharing stories about wrestling. He knows I'm a big wrestling fan. I worked for AEW for 2 years, and he knew that we were sharing just various different topics, and he would ask me questions, and then he went MIA, and typically when he went MIA, we all know either he lost his phone, or he's in the hospital. So then we start asking around. And it just happened to be that I was doing a live, taking a walk, and somebody said, oh, Andrew Kalora is doing a live saying that Lenny passed. Now, this happens all the time. We go live. What do you get? R.I.P. Dale, died in another car crash. R.I.P. Andrew. R.I.P. Brad. And you're like, yeah, whatever. Trolls are trolls. And I go over to the live, and I see Kalora is actually doing a live speaking about it. And I'm like, well, Kalora probably got trolled. Anytime something happens in this universe, I get a call from Andrew or I get a call from Brad.
Yeah.
So I stopped the live. I call Andrew. Andrew's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Nobody's told me anything. He's like, let me go do some fact checking. And he called me back like 10 minutes later. He's like, I think it's legit.
Yeah, and Andrew was the one who because same thing. People were in my live, and I was like, I didn't hear anything about this. So I actually asked Genova, and he was like worthless. This new version of Genova, not to bash the kid, but he was like, I can't speak on anything. I said, what do you mean you can't speak on anything? Is it true or not? He's like, I can't be a part of this. And I was just like, forget it. And then I realized that I still had Andrew's phone number. So I shot Andrew a message, and he got back to me right away. And he was like, yeah, man, it's unfortunately true. And I was like, I trust Andrew, obviously. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it really is true. I can't believe it.
How fast did Genova switch the topic to selling coins to you?
I was kind of a dick back to him because I'm always so nice to him.
Yeah.
But I wrote back to him. I said, why should I even bother speaking to you anymore, Jason? Honestly, if you won't even answer a question like this. And then he
Yeah.
was like, I apologize. I'm sorry. I just caused a lot of problems in my life, those guys. And I'm like, I understand, but you can still answer a question for me. It's just
Yeah.
either it's true or it's not true. And if you don't know, then you don't know. It's as simple as that. I know you're smart enough to know that. And then he kind of switched gears after that. Um, I was frustrated with him in that moment because he's gotten so far in the other direction now with the whole being scared of being around anybody and having any problems with his family and
Right.
whatnot.
Yeah. No, it's strange, and the other thing too is like Jason, everybody's upset that he didn't at least come out and say something about RIP, Big Lenny or anything like that. And Brad nailed it on the head when we did our first episode. He's like, if you would have told Jason I'd give you $100 to put out a video, he would have done it.
Yeah, he would have.
So also me looking from the outside in, Brad and Andrew and them never, Lenny, none of those guys ruined Jason's life. The trolls,
Yeah.
and it all stems from him Order 66 and people, which
Yeah,
we all thought was hilarious when it was going on. But
Hmm.
what it like with Rich Piana, when you go to that level and doing that, I mean, that was just, it's like, Jason, okay, people give him attention because of his disabilities. And it's just, he took that to a whole different level where he just felt that he was entitled to do everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of weird because so many people would feed on him like that, and they wouldn't take it for what it was. They were like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to get a shout out from Jason," and it was a big thing back then. To if Jason Genova gave you a shout out, you're like, "Oh my God, I'm famous," So, but for him to say that those guys ruined his life, that's not true.
No.
None of those guys did. The trolls and him feeding into that shit is what done it.
I think part of whatever his, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to diagnose him, but I think part of whatever his condition is, he has a very, I mean, if you spend enough time with him, you can see has a very extreme level of narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that he could even control it. Other people who at Blackstone and whatnot over the years that they were like called it out, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that he can really control or even see that, and
Hmm.
if you put him on the spot, he can get very upset over it, which I've done plenty of times,
Mm-hmm.
and you get him to take a step back, but he has associated now anything related to bodybuilding in this group with bad news in his life, right? Like his
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
uncle, the whole drama there. He lost his condo, so it's just got to be completely shut down. And Jane called me and gave me the whole rundown of, I guess, what happened while I was in prison. And I was like, listen, I don't want any problems with you guys, man. I love Jason. This has all been lighthearted fun for me over the years. I'm like, Jane, I don't think you realize over the years how much money I've given him, to have any kind of headache now that I'm out of prison, I don't want it. So it's fine.
No. No.
And I
Yeah.
said, just out of curiosity, if I hang out with him, can I take a picture with him? And she said no. I said, what if not that I want to do this, and I said I have no interest in doing this. If I went to a coin convention and he was there, could we take a picture together there since he's allowed to do that? She said no. I said, okay, well then I understand now where it stands. So it's just a complete shut off on that end. But without going too much time into this subject,
Yeah. Yeah.
the original videos, right, when everybody like got involved, was a very good time on YouTube in general, right? Like even
Mm-hmm.
before, way before me, the whole Mark Alvisi, the original, like the feud with Alvisi, those videos are in many ways they're actually like comedic genius, and you couldn't have that without Andrew as the cameraman, right?
Yeah.
Because Andrew knew the right things to say and ask to get everybody else involved, and it was really entertaining. So when I got in, I still felt it was like lighthearted, really good stuff. It wasn't until he started getting mixed in with like that kid Jonah
Oh,
and
Jonas, yeah.
some of those other guys, and then they started going into, you know, these like jackass style videos, that it started getting crazier and crazier. And I think that it all really got to his head at that point, you know, like I think that's when it started to get really out of hand because, you know, I got order 66 and, you know, there were 79 fake PJ Braun Instagram accounts and Facebook accounts, right? I had to go through all of them. They were all gay. They all had naked guy pictures, right? That's actually how I got my page verified because I had to go through all this. It's back in like
Yeah.
2014, I think. I had to go through this whole thing. This one girl like was in a relationship with one of the fake ones. It all came from the Order 66. So those Order 66s caused problems, man. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a lot tighter with Mark Lobliner back then, and man, he got Order 66. I was on the phone with him, and he's like, "PJ, these people have my home phone number. They're harassing my wife. I mean, they would just take it to a whole crazy level." So that stuff, like you said, that's what really ruined it, not anything else.
Yeah, I mean, like the trolls go thermal nuclear war, as Jay
Yeah,
would say. Like they just have there's no line they won't cross. And like as many years as this, all of us have been in this, and we've all been trolls and stuff it'll never go away. It's like the mafia. Once you're in,
yeah,
that's it. It never goes
yeah.
away. I do have a question for you, PJ, though. And this is one that I got sent to me. How many times, if it's possible, how many times did Jason actually text you when you were in prison?
You know, I have no idea because my phone was my stepdad held my phone for me the whole time that I was in prison,
Uh,
and so in the beginning he was telling me who was reaching out to me, but as soon as I got out of prison, I had like this completely different mindset from when I went in, where I was like, I just want to start with a clean slate.
right.
So I got a brand new phone number for the first time in over 20 years. So he may have been trying to text me, and I don't even know. It wasn't until he was messaging me he was DMing me on Instagram saying, "You're not responding to my texts." And that was when I was like, am I ready to give Genova my real new phone number
Oh
now?
man.
And as soon as I gave it to him, it was just like, poof, it just came through an onslaught every day.
He's like, go Jim, get drone, need money. You're my brother, love you, PJ. Don't give him your address. He'll be looking in through the window like this.
Yeah, the first day that I met up with him, and I threw some stories up about it and whatnot, he was already prepping me for his birthday and getting him a coin. And we were in March, right? We're in March. And I'm like, well, when's your birthday? He's like, February. I go, a whole year? You're setting me up now? He's like, well, I know you don't have as much money now as you used to, so you can save until then.
No shame, no shame. But like you said, you nailed on the head. Like you came out different mindset. You have a baby on the way. Congrats to you.
Thank you.
By the way, don't let Jane anywhere near that child, please. Like I think everybody knows that. But the one thing that you and I were talking about, PJ, before we did all this, and it's very familiar. I'm looking at your background. You live in the same complex I lived in from 2019 to 2023.
Yeah, really close apparently to where you were. Well, I don't want to say my number, but you
No, I
told me
know.
your number, so we're actually really close. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'll share something with you that the trolls love to watch. I'm going to share my screen real quick. And I'll prep this before I show it so you guys can see this. Dale probably has seen this. He knows this video. So you can see this is the complex that we lived in. And before I play the video, PJ, so you have some context here. On Christmas Day, I had gotten an e-bike.
Okay.
Thousands of dollars, e-bike gets delivered to my complex. Take it out on a stroll in the complex, and I completely destroy and total it. So yeah, buddy. So I'm gonna play it. Let me know if you can hear it. You'll see it. But right as I pass the camera, about 2 seconds after, you'll hear it. Could you hear it?
I,
Yes.
So I
Were you
wrecked.
hurt?
Oh yeah, I had. I show you. This was the lump I had on my head,
Oh my God, no, terrible.
and I had. This was my leg. Hold on. Here we go. That was my
Oh,
leg.
wow.
he used his head as the brake.
Yep. And then that was my arm.
How did you crash?
So I underestimated the instant torque that e-bikes have. I
Yeah.
was not. I had a motorcycle in New York City, and I got this e-bike, and I was not prepared for instant torque. So it had three modes. It had walk mode, it had sport mode, and then it had like all beast speed mode. And I had it on sport mode. And then I said, I'm gonna go around this corner, and I'm gonna just kick it into like full throttle. And I was not prepared for that. There were a bunch of garbage cans out. I went around them, and then there's a wall approaching me, and I'm like, I'm gonna ditch the bike.
Oh my
And
God.
I ditch the bike. Bike goes into the wall. I roll on the floor. I didn't realize that I had almost shattered. I thought I dislocated my shoulder, but there's a tuberosity bone. I'm probably saying it incorrectly. I had cracked all of that as well, and I had to wear a brace for like 6 weeks. So just wanted to share those memories from that complex.
Dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of good memories, and I was probably one of the first people there when that complex first came around in 2019. But yeah, it's a good spot. On the weekends, it's very quiet. Like that's
Yeah,
what I liked about it.
I found out about it from Sammy, who used to work for me.
Yeah,
When I got out of prison, he was like, "Oh, come check out my place." He's like, I got a sauna, I got a cold plunge, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Where is it?" And he was like, "Oh, it's right by where Blackstone Labs is." And so he gave me the address, and I'd never been over there before.
all right.
So when I went in there, I was like, "Wow, this place is really nice, bro." I'm like, "What are you paying here?" And he told me, and I was like, "You're paying the same as I'm paying where I am over in the ghetto part of town." I'm like, I can't
Where are you, in
believe it.
Boca West?
I was over in down Dixie Highway, off of Dixie and Yamato. If you go down driving towards Del Rey, my street was
Right,
called Lancaster.
right.
Um, they're just little random side streets over there off of Dixie.
Yeah,
And I couldn't believe that he was paying the same, because I was in a house which the spot was convenient, yeah, but no garage. It was very like certain aspects of it were very old. The AC couldn't keep the house cold at all. So I mean, for what I was gonna move laterally as far as rent, I'm like, well, I know I'm gonna save on electric, because dude, my bill was $450 in July, and it was still 80 degrees at night every day. I mean, I had guys coming in all the
wow.
time. They were like, "Listen, man, you got leaks in here and everything else. You're never going to keep it cool." So, just on that aspect alone, I was happy to get out of it. And when I'm finally allowed to go back to work at Blackstone, it'll be in a very convenient location.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's super close. The
yeah,
one thing I like about those town, I called my place the bunker. So like every time a hurricane would come by, I'd be like, we ain't going nowhere. This place is a concrete bunker.
yeah.
So like your goal there. One
Well,
question I wanted to ask you too was, and I think you mentioned this in your Q&A live yesterday. So Blackstone Labs has a corporate felony, and then you have a felony, so that's why you guys can't be associated with each other.
yeah, it's such BS.
Right.
It's amazing the things that the government can do, and people have told me I should look into this more because it seems unconstitutional. These extra penalties that I have, but so the company itself, right? They went after the company over Super DMZ. So
Hmm.
then they went after the uh, the heads of the company, myself and Aaron, and then they brought a bunch of other people involved in the indictment. So each of us had our individual cases, and then the company had its case. So they wanted to shut the company down, but my current partner, who's now the sole owner of Blackstone Labs, Jared Wheat, got involved, and he was never a part of anything that was going on, that they were coming after us for. He came into the mix after, and he was like, "Listen, I am now majority owner of this company," because he bought out Aaron's shares. He was like, I'm going to file for, corporate insanity against these guys, and you can't punish me over mistakes that they made. And so he wound up getting them to an agreement where Blackstone took a felony, a corporate felony, and was able to stay open. They paid a fine, and nobody that was working there got punished. And that was that. So it essentially saved the company. I have my own personal felony that I had to take. So, as per federal Florida rules of probation, no felons are allowed to speak to each other. Nobody from the same case is allowed to speak to each other. So, Blackstone and myself can't be associated at all because we're both from the same case.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And how
So
long is that? Is that a stipulation
yeah,
that lasts for a certain amount of years?
It's for my probation, which I have 3 years of probation. So I have special conditions also, though, that the other guys don't have. And this is not I'm not talking trash about the other guys. I mean, it is what it is. I didn't cooperate. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
people are like, well, how come Aaron is allowed to work at Redcon? I'm like, well, number one, Redcon has nothing to do with any of this at all.
Right
Redcon's
now,
a
yeah.
separate company. So there's that. But I can't, let's say, I don't know, Gaspari Nutrition, Joe's Supplements, whoever, was like, hey, PJ, we'll hire you to come work for us. Well, in my special conditions to my release, it says that I cannot work in anything related to dietary supplements during the terms of my supervised release. So
Hmm.
that means the way that my probation officer has interpreted it, I can't work at GNC. I can't work at a gym that has supplements. I can't be around supplements, period. So that kills, that aspect of it too. And I'm the only one that has that as far as my ruling. But again, that's what happens when you don't cooperate with them. They want to make your life, more miserable.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a frustrating spot to be in. But there's the possibility. I'm not holding my breath on this because of the way everything else has gone. That I could get an early termination on good behavior. I've been in prison with other guys that have had that with their cases. However, they've been really over the top hard on me the whole time, so I'm not holding my breath
Hmm.
on that. It's probably going to be 3 years, and then God willing, Blackstone Labs is still open in 3 years, and I can just go assume my position over there. I'm really counting on. It's a much smaller company now, but it's the
Right.
same guys really that have been there all this time. Billy Gagliardo, Chris Luke, Trevor, who was there in the very beginning, my same shipping department, and it's really Jared Wheat, running it with those guys now. So
Wow. Wow. That's a shame that it's in that current stance, and the fact that it's almost like blood in the water that they have for you. I
yeah.
mean, it's a shame because it's like you were such the face of Blackstone Labs. So is Blackstone Labs doing well currently right now? Can you speak on that or no?
So they're doing, from what I understand, better. They were doing so. This is what I got all the updates while I was in prison. My first year gone, they did okay, and then things started to get messed up on the inside. My unfortunately, my dad went through a lot of personal issues, and that's when things the second year started really messing up. And had I known beforehand, I would have just told Jared, like, hey man, can you please just run this while I'm gone?
Yeah.
I really wish that I just did that, because when I got out, before I knew that I had these rules, I went to see how everybody was doing. And I was on a 5-day furlough, which is almost like being free, right? So they let me out. I had 5 days to report to the halfway house, and I couldn't believe how bad Blackstone was doing. It like blew my mind. So in those 5 days, I kind of like met with everybody, and I was like, tell me everything that's going on. And I helped them get on a better game plan. We're really now, honestly, Billy Gagliardo is in charge of everything over there now, who is
Mhm.
very organized. He's a hard worker, been with the company like 8 years. He communicates with Jared. Jared took over a bunch of the things that I should have just asked him to do, because he's got like 10 companies, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I should have just thought of that from the start, but hindsight is 2020. So this year, they've actually they went from doing, I honestly thought they were going to close when I got out of prison, to now this year they've managed to, I'll say, stop the bleeding and stay pretty consistent in sales. But I'll say they're probably only doing about 30 to 40% of what they were doing when I left. Yeah,
Wow.
they saw probably about literally about a 75% drop that second year when I was gone, and it's gone up a little bit now, fortunately, and they're running a lot leaner. But good leadership, can make or break you. And
Right on.
I thought that I left them in a really organized spot, but you can't always predict certain things that are going to happen. So.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think the only way to get Blackstone bounced back is getting Dale Chance as a sponsored athlete again.
I don't know. I don't know. It's funny. People are like, who could help Blackstone while you're gone? Because I did so many different things. And it's tough because it's not going to be a bodybuilder. I'll tell you that.
Right.
If they
It's got
could
to be a
get
social influencer.
Yeah, if they could get one of these young influencers that's on their come up now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to predict them because a lot of the guys, people are like, "Hey, have you seen this guy? He got really popular while you're in prison." And I'll watch their videos, and I'm kind of like scratching my head, like, "Okay, like it's just a much different marketplace now." So I tell them, I'm like, go out and find a bunch of young influencers that have podcasts and put up YouTube videos and do these things and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally different now versus what it was. I mean, I remember when we went to the Arnold and y'all had that huge booth. It was 2019. It was the year after my wreck. And I saw you out there. And that's, I think you and Aaron had split by then. Y'all had a booth out there.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it was the lines, the people to come see you. You had the Blackstone suit with Blackstone inside of it.
Yeah.
That was the CEO days. But I mean, those days necessarily are, I think those are gone. You'll have to have an influencer, somebody that's not, like you said, not I don't think people don't buy the supplements because of bodybuilders anymore. It's
Just the connection.
Yeah.
it's the connection, what they see, the influencer, like, Young LA. I mean, look at Young LA where they're at right now, how that blew up. And then Jay Cutler's all the time with it. I mean, I saw a video of him yesterday. He walks into Gold's Gym. He's like, "Hey, I'm Jay. I'm going to walk in." The guy's like, "No, you need to go, sign up." He's like, "I'm on the wall." And the guy was being a douche. And Ronnie Coleman walks in. He's like, "Hey, Ronnie, don't even sign in. Go on." But
That's how I connected. I connected with Black.
Concept was amazing.
I connected with Blackstone. I connected with Blackstone Labs because of PJ, your Beauty and Braun series. Like that entire series. That's how I found Genova. Then it backtracked to the Misfits. But like I was every time those videos hit. And then that's when I was living in South Florida. That's how I found AJ, my barber, because I saw him in your video. I'm like, and then he's a barber. And I was listening to his music, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get my haircut, by this guy. Yeah, for sure. It's
do you still talk to AJ?
Yeah. He cuts hair now in Boca West off of Glades in another shop. But I mean, haircuts got so ridiculously expensive, and I'm easy. It's just one.
Yeah.
Like I just do it myself, and I'm not in South Florida anymore, so it's like I just do it myself.
Yeah, it's funny how things change as you get older. I actually saw it on the subject of AJ. He really transformed his body like dramatically. I saw something recently, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
He leaned out.
He got really ripped up. I used to pay, and back then I didn't think anything of it. Right? I used to pay. For Barbershop Wednesdays, I would tell people, like, listen, if you're going to be my barber, if you come to my barber every week, not only will I give you $200 to just come and give me my fade at the office, I'll make sure there's anywhere from 7 to 10 guys there that you can fade up and do whatever to and make a lot of cash that day. So most barbers were all about it, over the years. And I got my hair cut every week, so they didn't, they'd have their off day and they'd just come in and do that. It wasn't until I was in prison and I went so long without a haircut, and then I had a guy cut my hair with a comb with the end of a razor in it and a toothbrush, right? It took like 2 hours. And I didn't even care. I just wanted to get my hair shorter on the sides. And then I got to the camp, and they had guys there that in the barbershop that would cut your hair for like, the equivalent of like a bag of chips, like $2, you know, or stamps, whatever. And I was like, man, I can't believe that I was spending so much money on haircuts, you know, because once I like was getting those guys faded me up in there, like they honestly did her like a pretty damn good job. And my fiance has their own salon, and she used to always be like, "Well, I'll cut your hair," and I'd be like, "You don't cut guys' hair, you cut girls' hair." And she's like, "I know how to cut guys' hair." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you won't know how to fade me perfect the way that I want. You need a real barber for that." And I thought to myself in prison, like, what an asshole I am for not letting her cut my hair all the times when she asked, and she would have did it for free.
Yeah,
So when I
exactly.
got out of prison, I was like, "Hey, do you want to start fading my hair now?" I'm like, it seems kind of ridiculous to pay all that money when you could just, even if you're 8 out of 10, who else does it matter to other than you? And the first time she faded my hair, I was like, "It looks great." And she's like, "I can do it better." And I'm like, "No, I think it looks great." And so now she just fades my hair. It saves all that money now, and I could have been doing that whole time.
It's up to like $40 now for like a haircut. I'm like,
It's
oh
crazy
my.
how expensive it is for haircuts, man.
Well,
It's
I mean that's
crazy.
with everything. Inflation is
Yeah.
just
Beard,
astronomically
you want to
crazy.
get your beard trimmed too? It's like $60.
No, exactly. It's like I could just do all this shit myself. I think I
Yeah.
do a hell of a lot like better job than a lot of barbers I see. A lot of them, you know what's funny is like when I left South Florida, I would visit some barbers. I would come out looking like a Dominican baseball player, and it pissed me off because I was like, I don't want to be Big Papi. Like,
Yeah.
don't fade this. Don't not line this up. Don't do that. Just one. It's easy. Just like follow directions.
My first prison haircut, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you to tell this story, but you just go for it. I love this
Well, my
story.
first prison haircut before I got to the camp, I was like, to my cellie, I was like, "How does my haircut look?" Because there's no mirrors where we were at the first spot, right? You had these little like acrylic things, and he goes, he kind of like made you look like a Spanish rapper. And I go, "A Spanish rapper? What do you mean?" He goes, "You kind of look like Daddy Yankee." And I'm like, "I don't know what Daddy Yankee looks like. I'm trying to think about it." And he was like, he kind of gave you like the whole like fade into the mohawk in the back. And so I went in this other dude's cell, and we were able to see like the way he faded it down into a point in the back. And I was like, "Oh." So I made this other guy just take his razor and just shave it all off in the back. And then when I got to the prison and the camp, I almost got thrown off the compound over a damn haircut. And that was crazy because you know the guys in my first unit, guys had beard trimmers, right?
Hmm.
And they would cut hair like next to the cubes, and the guards were pretty cool about it. They didn't really care. In the RDOT building where I did most of my time, you were not allowed to get haircuts in the building. So if you did that, you were breaking the rules. You're risking getting in trouble. And nobody wanted to get in trouble in that program because A, you have to do it longer, which is terrible, or B, you risk getting kicked out of the program and you lose the year off that you get for completing the program, which who
Oh
wants to
wow.
spend who wants to spend another year in jail?
Hmm.
So there was a guy who was very good. Everyone's like, he's the guy for the haircuts. And they were opening up the barber shop because there was no barber shop due to COVID. So I had reached out to him and I was like, "Listen, the way I was in the real world, I started my prison bid like that. And I realized that's just not how to be inside prison." So I went up to him and I was like, "Look, whatever you charge for hair, I'll give you 4 or 5 times that up front just to make sure I get a spot, get in. I want a good cut. I have my girl coming to see me. I haven't seen her in 9 months. I want to look good." He was like, "Yeah, no problem, whatever." So I gave him uh, $50 up front, which is astronomical for a haircut in prison, right? But I was like, "Look, we'll work it out where I come to you every week, and I'll make sure you're always paid." So he was cutting other guys' hair, but not fitting me in. And I don't want to ruffle any feathers because I was new there. Also, you had to really tiptoe around certain things in prison because there was a lot of racial conflicts, right? And this guy was black, I was white, obviously am white still. And in there, you're a major minority being in the white crowd there. So Finally, this guy was like, after a few days, he was like, listen, man, I'm just going to tell you because you seem like a cool guy. He's just blowing you off because he thinks that you're like a rich white boy. And that's why he hasn't cut your hair yet. So I'm now mad by this, right? So I approach him about it. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna cut you by the end of the week. So the end of the week comes around. I still haven't been cut. That morning, I ask him again. I'm not trying to be pushy. He's like, I'll cut you after lunch. So lunchtime comes. I go back looking for him. He's sleeping in his bunk. I don't want to wake the guy up. You don't wake a guy up when he's sleeping in prison. I left it alone. 4 o'clock, you have to stand up for count, right? So 4 o'clock count, stand up. Everybody's standing. Guards come through. I'm sitting there looking at him, and he's like, I'll get you after mainline. That's when everybody goes to eat dinner. So everybody goes to eat dinner. I come back. He's not there. So I find him. He's like, meet me in the barber shop, right? I'm like, finally getting this haircut. We go to the barber shop, and there's two other barbers cutting hair. There's only two chairs. And I said to him straight up, I go, I'll just wait, till they're done. It's Friday night now, and I was going to see Marissa for the first time in 9 months the next day. I had crazy hair. I had a man bun. It was nuts, right? So he's like, I'm going to go shoot pool because there was a little like pool table area. He's like, and then I'll cut you at 7 o'clock. I was like, can't we just do it? We'll just wait. And he's like, no, I'm going to go shoot pool, right? So he goes and shoots pool. 7 o'clock rolls around. I go there. I'm waiting. He takes his time finishing his game. And we go over to the barber shop. It's like 7:15. Barbershop's closed. So I'm like, he goes, you know what, man? I'll just do it inside the unit. We won't get in trouble. Meet me up at my cube. So I go to his cube. I'm waiting. Dude, it's like 9 o'clock, right? And once 10 o'clock comes, lights are out. So I got an hour to get this haircut in. So somebody comes over to me and they're like, Braun, you still haven't got your damn haircut yet? You've been trying to get your haircut all week. And I'm like, man, I'm just waiting for so-and-so to cut my hair. He's like, man, he's downstairs playing cards. So I'm like, so I got to go downstairs. Now I go downstairs into, and I'm just going to speak it the way it is. And if I offend anybody, sorry, but that's just the
No,
way
go for
this
it.
is how it is. So I got to go down into the black TV room, right? So I go down into the black TV room and I'm in my slides, right, which are what they issue you when you first get into prison. They're like the cheapest, shittiest flip-flops that you can get.
Right.
And a t-shirt and shorts. I still just wanted to take a shower at this point and go to bed. He's at the table. Now, he's there with his boys at the table. Now, this dude came from a dramatically different background from me. He was actually getting wound treatment from a bullet that was lodged in his leg. He got shot 9 times. He survived. He comes from Arkansas, like a real bad part of Arkansas. And, he was a pimp, like dramatically different lifestyle, right? So when I roll up to the table, I'm probably, 250 pounds. All that goes through their minds, right? Because these guys have been down in prison longer than me, is this big white dude is coming and looking for trouble. Well, I get over to the table and I was loud. I admit I was loud. I realize it now. I was like, yo, bro, you're really playing fucking cards? I've been waiting for you by your bed. And as I walked over, he just went into instant, like, I'm going to protect myself mode. And he jumped up out of his seat and just blasted me in the chest. And I did not see this coming at all because I was just like, wanted to talk, like, you going to cut my hair or not? So when this dude was a big dude too, he was 6'2" and he was 295 pounds. I know his stats because eventually we actually became up cool and I helped him lose weight a little bit. So 6'2", 295, just a big dude, And it was like in Friday when he gets hit and the slides go, like the flip-flops go like behind the ear. So like one of my slides went one way, another one went another way. I swear I was like 6 feet off the ground. And in my head, as I'm like flying towards the floor, I'm like, damn, I'm going to get kicked out of prison camp. And I'm going to lose my year off. I was supposed to see her. I'm going to be in county jail because there's a no violence policy at all at the camp. Right out. So I hit the ground. Everybody jumps up. I land on the ground and I go, yo, it's cool, bro. I don't want my haircut anymore. I'm not your enemy, bro. I'm not your enemy. It ain't worth it. And he's like, get up, mother effer, get up right now. Put your boots on, put your boots on. I slowly get up and I go, bro, I'm not your enemy, man. We're in this program together. You got a daughter you're trying to go home to. I have a fiance that I'm trying to go home to. Forget it. So I'm walking out, and he's coming up behind me screaming. Everybody's going crazy, like telling him to chill out. I walk up the stairs. He follows me all the way back to my cube. And he's like, put your boots on, put your boots on. I lay down on my bed. I was like, bro, I'm not fighting you, man. It's not worth it to me. There's nothing that's going to get me to get thrown out of this program. We're just going to worry about how to handle this now when they get word of it. So that night was crazy because it turned into like a big like racial thing, right? Where like all the white guys were getting involved, the black guys were getting involved. The black guys that I was cool with, they were like, yo, man, he doesn't want to have any problems. Like, you guys got to sort this out before it comes to the community meeting tomorrow. Because once the doctor and all the counselors get in here, man, you guys are going to be in some shit. And I was like, listen, I'm prepared to, do whatever I have to do. I got very lucky because there were people in the program that knew I was a good guy, that went and actually spoke to the doctor beforehand and told them exactly what happened. Like, listen, Braun didn't do anything. He had, he went in there and asked him a question over a haircut, blah, blah, blah. So when the doctor and everybody came in, every morning you have to start. It's called jump start, right? If you're in the program, there's 100 people got to go in and go through this. It's the most stressful part of your day. So the doctor comes in, they're asking everybody about what's going on. They're like, so nobody has anything they want to share with anybody? And nobody's saying anything. So finally she's like, Mr. and calls him out. Because she knew he had already gotten in trouble. He got in trouble once for slapping somebody and they gave him a pass on it. Like, people were like, this dude is violent. He should be allowed in the program. She stands him up. She asks him what happens. And he lies about what happens, right? So these two guys that were almost done with the program, they're getting ready to go home. They're sitting in front of me. They both turn around and they go, yo, just tell the truth. This program's all about honesty. Doesn't matter if you messed up. Just tell the truth. That's your only way out of this. So I got up and I just told the whole truth. I said I gave him $50, which is a major no-no. You cannot do anything like that in prison. I just told the whole truth. Everybody was standing there like, damn, this guy is really just saying the whole truth. And the doctor was like, come with me. So this one lady that hated me, I've done two videos about her already, was like, he needs to be off the compound. They need to be off the compound. Violence. Get them out of here. Send them to county. And, I was like, damn, I can't believe I'm like new to the prison at this point. I'm like, can't believe I'm going to go down like this. We get to the lieutenant's office. We're sitting on the bench. They make you sit on this bright red bench. It's like the equivalent of like the dunce cap. So everybody can come by sitting there. So we're sitting there. Time's going by. The doctor comes out and she's like, Mr. Braun, I appreciate your honesty. I'm going to vouch for you. Don't make me look bad. I said, yes, ma'am. So she's like, go in. So we're both sitting there and they're like, who's going first? I was like, I'll just go first, right? So I go in. The lieutenants are sitting there. Now, change of scenery, the lieutenants are all white. So the one lieutenant, right, he's looking down. The way they play this all up now, it's like very funny to me. He's looking down and he goes, PJ fucking Braun's at my compound. And I'm just like, oh man, this guy knows who he is. So he's like, Google his name, PJ Braun's one of the other lieutenants. So they type it in, they pull up all my like bodybuilding pictures.
And Jason comes up like this.
So now I have a man bun. I mean, I've gained a lot of weight, right? So they're looking at it and they're looking at me. They're like, that's not you. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And they're like, why don't you look like that anymore? And I'm like, I mean, I was on steroids. They're like, most of those pictures are like 10 years old. I've been on prison food for a while. And they're like, oh. So then they're going through. They're like going crazy looking at all the pictures and stuff. He's like, so listen, he goes, I heard about what happened with you guys. He goes, but what I think happened is that you slipped and fell down. Nobody said anything. It was very confusing in there, and it was just a big confusing mess. You get what I'm putting down? I said, yes, sir. And he goes, will he say that you slipped and fell down? I said, yes, sir. He goes, send him in. So I walked out, and I go, yo, bro, you didn't touch me. I slipped and I fell down. We're going to get out of this. Just stick to that story. And he was like, all right. So he goes in. They send us out, and they're like, you guys are good, right? So we're walking up, and he's like, man, that was crazy. He was like, I'm sorry, man. You want me to cut your hair now? And I was like, nah, man, it's cool.
Full circle back to the
Yeah.
haircut.
I'm like, forget it, bro. So
With the throat.
uh, they send us back in. The one woman couldn't believe it, right? Miss AS. She's like, why are you back here? You should be off the compound. Blah, blah. I'm like, listen, they sent us back here, you know? And so the next day, I was finally seeing Marissa. I haven't seen her in 9 months, right? So I got there to see her. It was like amazing, bro. Like we both cried. And Monday rolls around, and one of the counselors in the program was like, "How was it seeing your fiance?" And I was like, "Oh man, it was amazing, bro. Like it was so emotional. Like my heart was racing. We just talked the whole time." And he's like, "So did she comment that you didn't have a good haircut?" And I was like, "No, she didn't care about that at all." And he goes, "Interesting how that worked out, huh?" And it
Mm-hmm.
was like such a great like moment that I was like, yeah, I know that a thing like that, how it could really like change your perspective on things after that. I changed the way that I handled situations in prison completely after that. I didn't raise my voice to anyone ever again. I stayed out of any problems. I was very calm in my delivery. By the time I was done with the program, that same lieutenant, he was like, man, you must have really changed a lot from the program because they hated you in the beginning and they all love you now. I go, honestly, I'm exactly the same. They hated me because I'm white. That's just the way that it is. I said, but I learned not to try to force myself on anybody. I just kept it quiet. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Whatever you say, blah, 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 blah. And by the end, they realized I'm not a problem. I said, in here, man, it's the opposite of the real world. Like things are backwards in here in so many ways. So I just learned to just stay out of everybody's way. Don't try to be the smartest guy. Don't try to. Man, I got in trouble for helping people lose weight in there. So I pretty much kept to myself, read books after that, and just stayed out of the way.
So,
Yeah, right
PJ,
on, man.
why did that woman? I listened to that story when you first got out, and you were telling that. Why did that woman hate you so bad? What did you do?
Man, I was like, could not figure it out. But I feel like what they do, so they read your jacket, they call it, which is your file.
Yeah.
So my file, I don't know what it says. I know what my pre-sentence report says. And so they read it and they see white guy, rich,
Mm-hmm.
entitled, thinks he's better than everybody,
Boca
not in
Raton.
here, you know what I mean? Not in here for your typical crime, and they just label you a certain way because I saw it happen to certain other guys too. And I think that me being big worked totally against me in there
Mm-hmm.
because they'd be like, Braun's aggressive, Braun. And I'm like, I'm not even saying anything. I'm just standing here. One day, somebody called on me, right? When you get called on, you have to stand up and speak into the microphone. I stood up. I didn't even say anything yet. And the woman goes, slow down, Braun. Calm down. And I was like confused. I was like, I didn't say anything yet. And she's like, with your chest all puffed up, trying to intimidate people.
Wow.
And I was like, this is just what I look like, like so I honestly started slouching and stuff more after that. So she just had me pegged. But the crazy thing is, I was saving this I was going to tell this in a YouTube video, which I probably still will. At the end of the 9 months of hell that woman put me through, I complete the program. I got through. I didn't get rolled back. I was so happy to be done. Right, so happy to be done that I'm in the follow-up phase where you only got to go like once a week, but you still got to stay in the building. You got to follow the same rules. Pressure's off, and she gives this speech about how beneficial this program can be, and how she's seen people really change, and how a lot of people they get through the program and they haven't fully changed, and they wind up coming back to prison or whatever. Blah blah blah. She's like, there's one guy that I've seen go through a dramatic transformation, and I'm so proud of him. And I really think that this person should stay and mentor the new guys coming in the program. And I never in a million years would have thought it would have been me. And she was like, Mr. Braun, stand up. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And in my head, I'm like, F you, lady.
That's what I was about to say. You'd be like, "That's right, bitch."
And
No.
I'm like, F you, lady. And she's like, Braun, are you willing to stay and mentor the new guys? In my head, I'm like, God, now I got to do way more work when I thought I was done. And I can't say no because she'll hold it against me.
Right.
So
Catch 22.
I was like, yes, I'm willing. And she's like, I didn't hear you. I'm like, yes, I'm willing. My friends that were in the program were laughing so hard. They were like, you have to stay and keep on doing. I'm like, I can't believe this happened to me after all that. I'm like, I don't know if she's messing with me or what. Dude, she called me to her office. I went down there and I thought she was gonna cry, bro. I honestly thought she was gonna cry, and I was like, honestly, I was like, I understand why you were the way that you were to me. And she goes, Braun, I've been doing this for a long time. And I know who I can push and who I can't. Some people, they just need to be pushed harder than others. And I was like, yeah, well, I was like, you definitely pushed me hard. I was like, but I was never going to give up. She's like, I knew you weren't going to. And so it was kind of like a nice moment after that. And I switched back into CEO mode, and I found a couple underlings to do a lot of the work for me, that guys that I was like, I'll help you out, but you're going to do a lot of this other stuff. And they were all about it. So I didn't have to do as much work as I thought I was going to do anyway.
That's awesome.
She was so mean to you because she had the hots for you. That's all it
That's
was.
what I was about to say too.
People were like, she must want to bang you or something. And I'm like, I don't know. She's mean as hell.
Oh, it has to be.
That's a fantastic story. I love that. I've heard that story.
She saw this big white boy coming in, rich, hair all pointed up. She's like, there he is.
She read his file and said Boca Raton, and she thought this. Oh, I'm gonna get in with this guy.
She saw Blackstone Labs, Lord Vader. She's like, oh yeah, definitely got to get
in. Such a good story. We got Tyson versus Jake Paul coming up on Friday. Who do you have, PJ?
Tyson, baby, all day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight.
Tyson's going to hit him so hard he's going to shit on himself. I put it to you this way. Jake Paul has to have the biggest balls in the world to take on that man. I wouldn't care how old he is. To take on that man like now, yeah, he's going to get beat, but man, I'm telling you, everybody's going to hold him to another level. His balls are going to be like the size of basketball.
I think that the best thing that could happen for the event and for boxing and for everybody else is for it to be a real fight and Mike Tyson knock him out. Because, first of all, that's what people want, right? Mm-hmm. But if you go in there and it looks like it's BS, he's not going to earn respect. Jake Paul isn't going to earn respect. If he goes in there and gets knocked out, people are going to be like, damn, he really went in there and fought. I mean, they didn't try to set it up. So, I don't think it hurts him to get knocked out by Tyson. I think that he gets more respect because people say, oh, it wasn't staged,
Right. That's been following Jake Paul for a while now, is that like the questionable staged fights for certain of his people that he's fought. So I agree with you. Like if he goes in there and he gets knocked out, it's like, oh shit, this wasn't staged. Unless he just took the hit and then he's going to get that nice purse for getting knocked out.
I mean, look, and then he can get up and say how many people has been knocked out by Mike Tyson and got up and how many people had the balls to get in the ring with Mike Tyson? Mm-hmm. That's not a big time heavyweight contender. I mean, when they first said the first set of rules, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be stupid. Mike Tyson can't even hit him in the head. I'm like, this is dumb. And then now it's supposedly changed, so I'm excited to see what happens.
So the main rules that are actually it's going to be a pretty legit fight. The main rules are 2-minute rounds instead of 3, which that is actually better for Tyson. And then I was talking to my buddy who boxes, so they're going to use 14-ounce gloves instead of 10-ounce gloves. So what he said was the 14-ounce gloves, even though he's like 4 ounces, it doesn't sound like that much. He's like, you actually get tired faster. Your neck gets tired because you're throwing with more weight like on your hand. So even though it's more cushion involved, it's more tiring. He said he would prefer to fight with 10-ounce gloves because your neck doesn't get as tired. You don't get as tired of holding the gloves up the whole time. So I thought that was interesting. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So, I think that I've been watching the training.
Oh my god!
I mean, Mike Tyson got in amazing shape. He does not look He does not look 58 years old.
No.
Yeah,
I think
he that old.
every guy that's over 40 in the United States is rooting for Mike Tyson. It's two totally different groups of people. Like, a
Yep.
lot of those young guys, those young Jake Paul fans, they have never seen Mike Tyson fight. You know what
No.
I mean? So,
No. No,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that fight. Like you just mentioned, I follow Mike Tyson probably like you guys, and watching his
yeah,
training videos, he's an animal. He's a fucking animal. Like you compare like Tyson back in the days to now, and it's like I see no difference other than maybe a couple of gray hairs in his speed, his
yeah.
ferocity, his
Hmm.
punching, his style, everything. He's got it all still. It's not
So
like it's not like a Roy Jones Jr. coming back and like, no, this is not going to work. Tyson
Another
is
thing I
just
think also with Jake Paul is I don't think any of these guys that he's fought are taking him seriously at all, right? So
right.
he's fighting against most of the time guys that were good in MMA or good in other things that are kind of past their prime. He did have one fight against a good boxer with Tyson Fury, and that was his one loss. Actually, he lost to Tyson Fury.
Right.
So he's going up a weight class because he's not fought at heavyweight yet, and he's fighting against. Sure, he is 58, but he's arguably the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. I mean, all the boxers say the last thing to go is your power.
a
Right.
So
very dangerous 58 pound
yeah,
or 58-year-old fighter at that. One of the best memes that's out there right now is from The Hangover when Mike Tyson punches Allen and it's Jake Paul laying on the ground and he goes, he still got it. It is one of the best memes out so far. I just want to see him get knocked out because he actually thinks that he can beat Mike Tyson. I don't care how old he is. I mean, the only way you're going to beat Mike Tyson is if they tied his hands behind his back and just let you just well on him. And then
have you
again, you
watched
probably still
the
won't beat him.
documentary that they put out on Netflix?
No.
About Tyson?
It's,
I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. Yeah, there's three of them about the Tyson and Jake Paul. It's on Netflix now, and it's they did a really good job with it. Like you see each individual's training, and man, like Tyson, man, his training is intense. So like he looks like
It's
he's
either
training for real.
it's either the pigeons or it's the weed that's got him like dialed in. I don't know. But PJ, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you said you had to go pretty soon, so I just want to thank you again for jumping on and talking to me. I'm a complete nobody, and I just wanted to say thank you for that and letting Dale to join in too and shoot the shit.
If we can do a quick second, let me tell my PJ story.
Go for it.
So the whole Jason Genova. I went down there right before the Ruby, and I went to Blackstone Labs. I was so excited to meet PJ, and PJ couldn't be there that day, so we're all out in the thing. Jason's, of course, getting all these supplements. PJ's like, "Look, guys, take what you want and everything." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So then fast forward into the Ruby, I fly down. And my coach said, "Hey, man, you need to go over to Busybody." I think it was Busybody East at the time. I think that's where I met you at. But
Yeah.
PJ was in there. I saw his Mercedes. I was like, "Holy shit, PJ Braun's in here!" I was so excited. And my wife at the time, she was like, "Oh, okay." And she didn't know who PJ was. So we go in, and PJ's over in the corner working out, and I come walking by, and I got all fanboy and I walked past him, and so he's sitting there, and I come up to him and say, "Hey, PJ, how's it going?" And he's like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" He's talking to another guy from Australia.
Yeah.
How's your abs look? How's your, and this, that? And then he's like, "Well, what about your leg?" I show him my legs. He's like, "Well, damn." He's like, "Well, Jason and them have no chance." I was like, "Yeah, we already knew that, but and then I go in and pose, and it was, super cool. Got to hang out with him. And PJ told me, he said, "If you win Saturday," he said, "I'll sponsor you." I was like, okay. So now the pressure's really on. He said, "Look, come by tomorrow. We're having the cookout. That's when y'all done the cookouts on Friday.
Yeah.
Come by, we're having a cookout. So I'm like, all right. So I go over there that day, and he's like, so how are you looking? I was drying out, and he's like, well, I told you if you win tomorrow, I'll sponsor you. And I was like, God, I told him, man. It's like, well, now I hope I win. I was like, I know I'm gonna beat Jason and them, but I don't down here. And then I go in and I got the infamous third place Ruby Championship there. So infamous third place down. But then I got to meet PJ again and talk to him again. And he actually eventually sponsored me. He told me, he said, look, I'm getting a lot of flack for sponsoring because this right after Jason, you kicked Jason out because of the Rich Bianco stuff. And he's like, well, you didn't kick him out. You had to let him go. And then he's like, man, I'm getting a lot of flack. I was like, well, look, PJ, man, if you want to sponsor me, that's fine. If you don't, I said, I understand. I get it. And so he said, no, I'm going to sponsor you. So he sponsored me. And then when I got in my wreck, and then PJ, that's when you went into the hospital. And everybody's like, oh, PJ, did you hear about Dale? You're like, no, what about Dale? And everybody, I guess all the trolls expected you to know every ounce of my life.
Yeah.
And PJ doesn't care about Dale. And then actually you and I talked privately. You called me on the phone and talked to me and everything. And I was just like, dude, PJ's got a business friend, man. He doesn't have time to worry about little old Dale Chance, what happened to me. And then, everything happened, the GoFundMe and all that. You sent money and all that. And then I remember I messaged her and said, look, PJ, I'm not going to be able to, I've got to have 6 more surgeries. I can't promote Blackstone. I was like, man, just take whatever you're giving me and give it to someone else. And you're like, no, man. I'm like, no, PJ, please do that because I feel like I was taking advantage of you. And that's the type of person that people don't see. They just see, oh, PJ's got a Lamborghini and all this. The rich, he's better than everybody. I'm like, nah, man. It's like Adam and I were talking in the last episode I did with him is, you're a very stand-up guy. And I wanted to make sure I told you that because
thank you.
It was, you didn't have to do that, any of that, and you done it. And then just for me, the most exciting part for me is when I saw you at Busybody and you just took the time. It's like, all right, well, let's see what you look like. And you're like, I can't believe that was you in April and this is you now. I was like, man, I took it serious.
Yeah, from when you guys came in that day to Blackstone, you look like a completely different person. So I love bodybuilding, man. I love to see people, and even when it's not a bodybuilding thing, like people who lose 100 pounds, I just love to see people go through the transformation to be the best version that they can be, and I'll always love that aspect of it. People still say to me, what about Dale, man? I still get those in my Q&As. What about Dale?
What about Dale?
I don't have one thing about me, man. The trolls, like I'm a good guy to troll. I can take it. I think a lot of it is funny, and I don't take myself that seriously. I know where my heart has always been at, and I think most of the people that have gotten to meet me or spend any time with me kind of know. I might have had a lot of things over the years, and I might not have a lot of things now, but I'm still the same guy with the same heart.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I second that with what Dale said. Like,
is when I went to the Arnold, it was right after my wreck, and I went to the Arnold. I was walking over there too, and you stopped what you were doing and walked over and said, "Hey, man, how are you doing? It's so good to see you walking." And I was like, "Oh man, I'm doing good." I was like, "Man, this is awesome." And it's just that, you taking the time out to do that is what, not just me, I mean, tons of people all over. And the coolest part about when I saw you at Busybody, I said, yeah, PJ, I said, yeah, this is what I did on Blackstone Labs. You're like, yeah, right. I'm like, no, really? I mean, other things, but most of the fat burn and everything I did was Blackstone. And you were like, holy shit, really? I was like, yeah, this is what happens when you take your diet serious and you get a coach and because my whole thing was to beat Lenny and Jason, which that wouldn't have been an easy job, but I wanted to win too. But the third place came out, and that's why Adam's chats with Churchill third episode's the best one of all time because it's third place down.
Because it's Dale. No, I mean, no, it's true. Like, I think PJ, you do this thing where you give people time, right? So like, no matter if it's Dale or it's just somebody else that's even a troll or somebody that's meeting you at a booth, you take time to talk and shake hands with everybody. And not a lot of people do that. That one-on-one connection is very important. And I think that's why Blackstone Labs was always very important and very, influential to a lot of people, because you were the face of Blackstone and you took that time to meet people. So this has always been awesome, to see.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys saying that. Appreciate you wearing that shirt too. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's right, man. This is when you released this one in the Roddy Piper one, I think, right?
Yeah, we did the Hulk Hogan one, sold out. We had to do more, right? So when I did the Roddy Piper one, we got a call from WWE to do an immediate cease and desist for copyright or trademark infringement, whatever it was. And I was like, I can't believe that they've noticed that. So that was it for the wrestling shirts after that.
Yeah, awesome. No, but again, PJ, I know you got to run, so I really do appreciate you spending the time with me and Dale to talk to us. And Dale, thank you again for jumping on from the famous Chance Estates. We got to do it again. I appreciate your time, guys.
Okay, thank you guys.
Hey, buddy.
See ya. Peace out. Bye.
Take care. Peace out. Bye.
Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.